Edward Leos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the hotel guide publisher, Edward Leos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. I'm really excited about today's episode of Travel Talk. I got Mark Reichle with the Select Registry, the CEO. So I'm really excited about having him. We were chatting a little bit offline prior to us getting on board and some of the commonalities of Texas heat and everything. So, Mark, it's just great to have you on the show today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate you inviting me to join you.
No, it's going to be a good one. As with all of my guests, I know all my listeners are like, well, heck, Edward, who the heck are you talking to? So, Mark, why don't you tell our listeners and readers a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to where you are in your position now?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I currently work with a Select Registry. I got in the hospitality industry probably in a fairly typical way. My wife and I both worked in the corporate world for the auto industry in Detroit. And while we loved what we did labor negotiations and HR work for them. We didn't really have a lot of time together. So we ventured to something different. And one of the odd pieces of criteria for us is that my wife is from New York. I'm from California. And so we wanted to be somewhere in the middle so that we would be convenient to both of our sets of parents. And in 1998, we found an inn in Kansas City, and we purchased it. And it just so happened that inn happened to be a Select Registry property. So we were indoctrinated into Select Registry upon the purchase of this inn. So we operated it for about 21 years. During that time, we maintained our membership with Select Registry. As time evolved, I became a part of the governance structure. So I was on the board. I served as the president of the board for a number of years. And then in 2018, we thought that maybe it was time that we would put the inn on the market and do something different. And at the time, we thought, well, that's a five-year adventure. So we'll get that going. And it just so happened that it sold more quickly than we thought. Select Registry had an opening that suited my skills. And so I started with them as the director of operations, and I did that for a couple of years. And then during the pandemic, took over as CEO. So I've been involved with Select Registry for about 27 years. Prior to that, had a long stint in the livestock industry and in the auto industry as well. So a varied past. So.
Oh no, definitely, as we all have. I love the relationship you have with Select Registry. So there's a lot of people that are listening right now and they go, hey, what exactly is Select Registry? Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that, and then maybe some of the big things that may be on tap for the company as well?
Absolutely. So we are a membership association. We have been in existence for over 50 years. The basic premise of the organization is that we allow independent lodging properties that meet the criteria that we have set for membership. So we have a fairly extensive evaluation process and a fairly extensive set of evaluation criteria that our members have to meet before they can meet and maintain, actually, before they can keep or join our membership. So we have about 250 properties across the country in most states, but not all. And our members are sort of what we consider to be champions of craft lodging. So they are again, independent properties that offer unique accommodations, kind of a connection to not only the people that you're staying with, but also the other people that are enjoying the facility and also a great connection to the local culture, and then unique experiences that you traditionally might not find at a larger, more box sort of hotel.
Yeah, when I was looking at the website, I really was enthralled with a lot of the different properties and varieties that you have there, which makes it really unique. And I think it's really cool that there's one spot for travelers to be able to go to and kind of check that out. As far as all your members, what's the normal process of when a property wants to come on board? What's that learning that vetting process? How long does that normally take for someone to come on board?
It depends on their familiarity with the organization, but I would say that the kind of the first step is sort of a digital vetting. So um, our evaluation comes with a fee, and we don't want to go out to the property when we know full well that they probably wouldn't make it, that there are some things that they need to do. So it could be anywhere from 2 months from the time that they apply, or it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 years,
Yeah,
depending on some things that they need to work on. Most often, it is sort of digital presence. Maybe they need a new website, or maybe they need to have more significant prominence on social media, at least with responding to reviews or meeting a certain minimum that we
yeah,
have for review quality. The other thing that's a little hard to tell on a website is sort of the condition of the facility. If we
yeah.
see things that are red flags, then we would definitely bring those up. In many cases, we don't see those until we're actually on the ground assessing the property. But we look at hospitality, we look at the physical attributes of the property. The rooms have to be updated, both the rooms and the baths should be current and updated. As I mentioned, digital presence, we take a look at how they're represented and marketed digitally. Hospitality, food and beverage service, all of those things come into play. So depending on whether we feel all of those things fit, it could be a fairly quick process, or it might depend on the property's commitment to getting those things done and how quickly they do that.
Got it. Well, I love the fact that you're pretty good about the vetting process for being a part of Select Registry. So that's a really cool thing right there. Let's switch a little bit from the business side to the personal side.
Ah,
I always love to ask my guests these two travel questions because we are a travel talk podcast, and we're dealing with some of the top leaders in the hospitality industry. So, what has been some of your favorite travel destinations that you've been to?
yeah, I would say the easy answer for me internationally is Lisbon. We've spent some time there. It is an unbelievably charming town, and the sort of the character of the city just captured my heart. The other places are really kind of experience driven. So I love the Pacific Northwest,
Yeah,
specifically Olympic National Park. To be able to explore four different ecosystems in one massive national park
yeah,
is really quite amazing. Um, Camden, Maine, and the whole coast of Maine, I think, is really quite charming. But Camden is a wonderful little town that has this whole culture around what is referred to as the Oreo cookie cows. They're belted Galloways that look like an Oreo, so they're black with a little white band, and I have this great story that we don't have time to talk about finding a calf unveiling in the farmland
oh wow.
while we were visiting there, which was unbelievably charming. So I love that area. And then I spent a lot of time in on the central coast of California, in San Luis Obispo and Paso Robles, and anytime I can get back there, it's always a good destination.
That's awesome. So we're talking about getting back to and maybe going to new places. What are some of your bucket list travel spots that you have? I mean, it's a great big world out there, and there's a lot of places to explore. What are some of those bucket list things for you?
Yeah, for me, the first would be, and it's a big one. It's a fairly big time commitment. Would be to walk the Camino in France and Spain. It's something that I've always wanted to do as an innkeeper. Finding 30 to 40 days to take off and not be available for your business would wasn't a possibility. And if I attempted it, I don't know that I would have been married or had a business partner when I got back. So Camino is definitely on my bucket list. I was just in Colorado a couple of weeks ago, and I was amazed at the stars you could see, and it got me thinking. When I was a child, I grew up in the desert, and there wasn't a lot of light pollution, and you could easily see the Milky Way and millions of stars. And so one of my bucket list things is to get to a destination where I could see or have that kind of stargazing experience again. Not that I am an astronomer by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm awed by the by starlight. So
Yeah.
the other thing is that I grew up right on the Mexican border, and we spent a lot of time camping in Mexico, specifically this little charming little beach near a little town called San Quintin. And I would love to take my wife to San Quintin so she could experience what I've talked about there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's actually a great bucket list combo idea, kind of going back in time and taking your wife there as well. But I really like your thoughts on the stars. You're the first person of all my guests to mention that part. And it's true. Experiential travel is just really I like, they call it the new thing, but travel is always about experiences. I think post COVID, you're seeing that now there's this category that they're calling it experiential, which is, it's about taking your property, it's taking what's around you and doing things a little bit different, so that the guests are leaving there feeling a little bit better about what they got to experience, not only on property, but everything around. You find that being the case where you are?
Absolutely. And just a little more connected, not just with the property, but with the culture and the surroundings and kind of the whole package of what's in the area and what you can do and see. And we have a lot of travelers who follow Select Registry properties who are specifically looking for kind of the experience. They're looking to be a part of whatever area they're in, and really looking to be a part of the property where they're staying. To get to know the owners and to get to know the facility itself.
That's awesome. Well, we got a couple of minutes left. What any final thoughts or comments, and what's the best way for our listeners to find out and learn more about Select Registry and the properties that you represent?
Yeah, so we're on all the social channels. So certainly on Facebook and Instagram, we can be found. Our web address is selectregistry.com. And I would just encourage people to go on our site and explore areas, where they can explore experiences, they can explore destinations. All of our properties are individually listed. And so if you were to narrow it down to a specific property, you can explore kind of what to do, where to eat, what rooms you can stay in. So there are lots of references for the property, and then a link to the property's website itself if you're still looking for more information. So there's a wealth of information on our website, and I would just encourage people to experience it and kind of enjoy the search of a good destination and a good place to stay.
No, it definitely is a good search. I had a chance to take a look at the website prior to us getting on the call, and there's some great. Well, it looks aesthetically great, and there's a lot of content in there, and it makes you whimsically want to go places. And I think that's the whole premise of places like Select Registry and the Hotel Guide. It's really about us connecting with the guests and getting them to go, hey, I never thought about staying at that place or going to that destination. And so kudos to you, everything you're doing, Mark, there at Select Registry. And Man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
Well, it's been a pleasure for me, Edward, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, perfect. Well, to all of our listeners, readers, and guests, you know the deal, thehotelguide.com. Please follow us there. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And we'll also have Mark's website in our comments here, so you can find them at Select Registry. Follow them on all their socials, Facebook and Instagram too. But like we like to say, travel, make memories. And until next time, everyone, take care and have a great day.
Bye-bye.